holiday break is over, and right now Houston ISD students are back in class. This is the second semester for state-appointed leadership. KPRC2 has documented the changes unfolding within HISD under the new guidance of the new superintendent, Mike Miles. We are embedded at Fleming Middle School, one of the new education system schools, or NES, by Miles. KPRC2's Candace Burns has been focused on Fleming, as we like to call it. Now, Candace is joining me live this morning. Good morning.
Early this morning.
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we really wanted to bring you in because you've been embedded, like we've said, in Fleming, so you really have a pulse on what's going on. So just kind of recap, people. What does NES school mean? How did Houston get here?
Okay, so according to the Texas Education Agency, the state takeover had been bubbling for several years, and then this spring, after one of the high schools that they had been watching closely, Wheatley High School, according to state standards, failed a consecutive year, continued to fail. The state decided to come in and take over the district. And when they did this takeover, they brought in a state-appointed superintendent, Mike Miles, and then they also brought in a board of managers who replaced the school board. And that happened in the spring, and things started moving very, very, very fast after that. This new superintendent came in, and he says right away, I want to get these students ready for the year 2035. They are really behind when you look at the state standards. He showed a lot of data that showed reading scores, math scores, science scores, and he said, I want to get these kids ahead of the mark. And so he implemented his new education system. And there are so many moving parts to this, but specifically, he decided when he came in that there were 28 schools that he wanted to reconstitute, hire new teachers, hire new principals, re-interview everybody to see if they were the type of teachers he wanted in his NES programs, because they run very strictly. They run according to, like, he has curriculum for them. They stay on time, a time scheduled, and he wanted to make sure
that timer that we've heard of. Yeah.
He wanted to make sure that everybody was on board with what he was trying to do at these 28 schools. Why 28 schools? Well, the three underperforming high schools, Wheatley, Cashmere, and Forest Brook, he took the elementary schools and the middle schools that all feed into those high schools, and he reconstituted those. And now there's almost 100 schools that are considered NES or NES aligned schools. How did that happen? Well, when he started to do the reconstitution in the spring and the summer, a lot of the principals who were watching what was happening, they had meetings and they were like, hey, I can see the writing on the wall, or hey, this looks great. I want to join in on this too. This will be great. All of my teachers using the same curriculum, the same formula. This actually looks good. So they joined too. So now we have 28 NES schools, just NES, and then a handful, so many more, almost 100 together,
who
which
are kind of following
NES aligned, and they're just following. They haven't been officially reconstituted, but they're following the curriculum. They're following the guidance of the NES system. How does that work? Okay, so teachers follow the curriculum that was handed over by the administration, the headquarters, if you will, from Hattie Mae. They're building the curriculum, and they're telling them how their day is going to go. So students have what they call a demonstration of learning, and this is when you come into the classroom, it's written on the board, this is what we're going to learn today. And you need to be able to demonstrate that you understand this by the end of this class. First 10 minutes of class, every day, they're going over the lesson. They're going over very quickly, this is what we're learning today. Say it's adding addition and subtraction. You need to be able to do this by the end of the day. And 10 minutes, or end of the class, I should say, 10 minutes in, they take a test. And the students who understand it very well, say they got an A, or they got, actually they moved by the number 5. So if you got 4 or 5 right, then you understand it. You have mastered this lesson for the day. If you have under that, then you stay in the classroom with the teachers. The other students go to what they're calling the learning center. You see, there's a lot of stuff happening here.
Yeah.
They go into the
I'm impressed that you really understand it all.
I hope that I'm explaining it in a way where you understand it too.
No, okay, so they move on. I mean, it kind of makes it like a game for the students. Is that an idea?
I don't think that's the intention, but as I was watching it, I was one of those students who were like, oh, I want to get 5 right.
I want to be competitive.
I want to get 5 right. So I'm paying attention, because if I get 5 or 4 right, I can go on to the learning center, and that means I grasp the lesson for the day. You take a packet, you go into the learning center, and you do more work. But the learning center, a lot of this is a lot of change, it's a lot of new things happening, and so a lot of people don't understand what's happening.
Sometimes, and change is never greeted happily, you know, and some of this sounds really good. Like for those of us who are really competitive, it's like, oh, that would probably motivate me. But you're bound to be hearing other things from parents and students. What are some of the themes that you're hearing, likes and dislikes?
So, like you mentioned, change is very hard. So from the start, this was a very controversial takeover. A lot of people thought that it was political, whatever reasons they had for it. But mostly, the biggest thing is the time factor, the timers that are in the classroom, because the teachers are following that 10-minute guideline, and that whatever comes after that. And the students are saying, even the honors classes, I followed an honors class around for the day, and these are the best of the best in the building, right? And they're saying, I like the system, I appreciate the structure, but this timer is giving me anxiety. This is
You'd
hard.
Feel rushed a lot of times. Yeah.
I think we have sound from some of those students. Let's listen.
Okay, let's listen to that.
Yeah, I'm learning stuff because I get A's in my class, but like they go too fast.
For me, it's been going a little down because I don't like. Well, my grades have been streaking a little bit.
They've been going down.
Mm-hmm. I don't like that 10-minute timer. I don't. I'll be thinking I'm gonna feel that, and I hate feeling it. You guys, my teachers, I cry about that. I don't like it.
So how do the teachers help you when they see that you're anxious about the time?
So they will normally say like, it ain't that you feeling, you just need more time to express yourself in your work.
It's like a scary roller coaster.
I know I'm gonna finish anyway, so I don't really have a problem with it.
So you can see that timer, that was the honors students actually
stressing them out
at the end, and they're like, hey, this timer is pretty tough.
So not everything about the NES schools is bad, but maybe there are things that we can change, right? Has the district addressed any of those concerns?
I think that to your first question, a lot of people will agree, not everything is bad, but there are a lot of concerns, and the teachers that I've spoken with don't really want to go on camera and talk about it.
Yeah.
They feel like, hey, this is my job.
We never have an easy time getting teachers on camera.
Well, and specifically here, the ones that I've talked to, if I'm completely transparent and honest, they feel like if I say something, I might lose my job. But there are things that concern me about the system. First of all, every school doesn't work the same. So to put every single 98 schools in this system where you have to move at this pace and you can't go back, and they feel like in some cases go back and maybe be a little more patient with another student who might need a little more time. They don't really like that. And also the curriculum, some of them feel like they are kind of being forced to fit into a mold, and they want to have more freedom. But the superintendent, his response to that is, hey, you have freedom to be as creative as you want to. Stay in these time lengths, though, these limits, though.
Under this guidance.
And you heard the students say, hey, this is giving me anxiety. The superintendent, though, I questioned him on that. He said the timers aren't going anywhere. We have a soundbite on that, too. Every student that I've talked to so far, they're liking school, they love their teachers, but they tell me that they're very anxious about the timers. And in one case, one of the girls told me that she cries because she's afraid of failing. Are you going to address those pressures?
I think the teachers and the principals and the people at the school have to really explain the why and also de-stress it. Sometimes kids take their cues from teachers, so if teachers have a way of making sense of things. I've been in 70 schools, and I've been doing the NES type model in many other schools when I was the CEO of Third Future Schools for 7 years. And kids will get used to it. I've been in the 70 schools, I've been in the NES ones. A few of them have been non-NES. I've been in the Team Center. I've seen the DOLs in every school, and the timer that's up there and the teacher going around. And I don't think that's a general thing that's happening in the district. If a kid is crying or too stressed out, I don't see that.
But this is something that they're literally telling me is a problem for them.
And I take them at their word that they're feeling, some pressure around it. But overall, it doesn't impact kids negatively. The 10-minute, we're not going to change the 10-minute DOL on the board. It's a 10-minute DOL. Kids and adults need to learn that there are time limits to certain things. Almost everything in life has at least some level of time.
So he says the timers aren't going anywhere. They're going to have to get used to it. And he mentioned DOL, which I told you when we first started this interview is part of the NES system, the demonstration of learning that's on the board when the students come into the classroom.
That's the whole, where this all comes from. You go in, that's what you have to learn today by the end of class.
You know right away, you're going to learn how to add and subtract today. And you need to be able to demonstrate that you learned that in this classroom before the end of the class. And the teachers are grading. Everything is moving very quickly. Now you are trying to follow along with me as I'm telling you what's going. Imagine the student, and this is their first year under this new system.
And learning something new that they don't know prior to coming into this class, and they've got 10 minutes. That time's ticking.
So they're anxious, but
I get it.
Everybody, on the other end though, everybody who I've talked to says that they are learning. They are learning. They know that they're learning. I even spoke with the teacher, math teacher, 6th grade math teacher at Fleming, who showed me at the beginning of the school year, none of her classes were at grade level in what she was teaching. 2 to 3 weeks in, she showed me the data, and I don't want to give the wrong percentage, but I was like, wow, when you looked at the number of kids who were at or above grade level from the structure that they were getting in class. So, and also Wheatley High School was one of the schools that created, according to the state, the need for this takeover. And I spoke with some parents at that school. One woman told me that her daughter said in the first few weeks of school, she learned more this 2023, the beginning of the school year, than she had learned all last year. So still lots of complaints though.
But you mentioned that there's 28 NES schools. So how did we get partnered with Fleming? What's the importance with Fleming here?
Very, very, very good question. So we were very intentional about what we knew that this was new. Houston is the largest school district in Texas, one of the largest in the country. And so all of these changes were happening, and we were like, we want to see what's happening here. The superintendent has said the new education system this is the first time it's been done at this level ever. And we wanted to follow along to see what it was, how it works in the school, in the classroom, and in a way where the viewers, because there were so many people who were for this and so many people who were against it, where they can decide if this is something that works on their own. Nothing from me in there, but letting the teachers, the students, and the parents explain how they're going through the system. We chose Fleming because these students, they're middle school students, and they feed into Wheatley. So Wheatley was a school that started all of this.
Yeah, one of the 3 high schools.
We can see how it's working with the kids who are going to end up at Wheatley, most likely. So that's why we chose Fleming.
Well, Candace, you've had a crash course in NES, and you are now the NES expert here at KPRC2. We appreciate you coming in early this morning and talking to us about this. I'm sure that our viewers are going to see a lot more of this throughout this semester.
Yeah, we hope to dig into the data now, because we had the first semester where we could kind of see how the system works, and now we're going to be able to see testing and dig deeper into how it's really working. So I'm really looking forward to that for the second semester.